Okay, now let's talk about the Philidor's position, which is the second critical position that you should know by memory. This is one of the key positions, and it is black to move and draw. So what is the move by black? Well, the move by black is actually rook to g6. And basically what's happening is that we're cutting off the progress of the king. The king cannot make any progress. So what will happen is that white will probably try to check the king, rook to h7 check, the king will just go back. And now the king really can't, no progress can be made because the rook can go back and check, check, it can switch sides and try to check, but nothing. And obviously with the rook here, cutting off this line, the king can't make any progress. The only progress that maybe can be made by white is playing e6. But then what happens is that black will play rook to g1, and now the king has no hiding place, meaning no matter, white can check, but after the checks are done by white, this white king here has nowhere to hide. It will have nowhere to hide, and black will just be able to harass it forever, so it'll be a draw. So that is really it for the Philidors. So it's just really cutting off the king and not allowing it to progress, and then knowing that once that the pawn moves up, is dropping the rook back to hopefully to check it from behind, giving a check, and then as the king moves around you can check it. So what are some other moves that possibly can be made? Let me cover those for the rest of my time. Well, let's look. Another popular with this checking from behind thing, which I think some people know. Let's say black goes to rook to g1. Now black can still draw in this position, but it's you have to sort of know what you're doing, and you can easily go wrong and lose the game. So black will drop its rook back, and then let's say white checks. Then the king moves back, and then let's say the king. Well, first of all, let's move the king to here, which seems sort of threatening. Well, now actually this doesn't work because black just comes back and check, and if the king goes back to here, then we're right where we left off. And if the king moves over here, we just switch sides and we're right where we left off. So d6 doesn't, or king to e6 doesn't work. Actually, got to play king to d6, and then what moves can really black make? Well, the winning move is actually to put your rook on e1. Well, let's look at the sort of common looking moves for black. The wrong move for black is actually coming back and checking, unlike e6, I'm sorry. So if the king comes to d6, coming back and checking with the rook is the perfect answer, but if the king moves to d6, then white is able to progress the pawn, and then now black's in serious trouble because now white's threatening checkmate, and now the rook has to come back, and then the rook swings the other side, and the game's going to be over very quickly. So that is the wrong move when the king moves to d6. What about rook to d1? Well, on rook to d1, the king will come to e6, and now white's threatening mate, so king to f8, white will check, the king has to come out, and now the rook will come down to h2, and after some play we're probably going to get something that looks like a Lucena position where white will eventually win. Basically, white has been able to evict black out of this spot up here, out of the hole as they call it, and white can go on to win. So it'll be sort of a, you have to be careful though, black can still lose, so it's not clear. So let's back up. So I said in, whoops, rook to g1, backed up too far. King goes check, then the king goes to d6, and like I said, that this move loses, this move loses. The only move that actually now that draws for black is rook to e1. And how does play continue from here? Well, white will check, the king will come out, check again, back, and then king to e6. One of the reasons why I didn't cover it full last time is because we'll cover a little bit more in detail right now. King to f8, because white was threatening checkmate. And the other rule is you should always try to run to the shorter side of the board. Rook to h8 check, king to g7, and now the rook will swing to the other side. And now black will just make a sort of a waiting move. Obviously the king can't come up or we'll lose. King to d6. And now the wrong move would be the rook to here giving check, because the king will just come to here, and then we'll be able to move the pawn up and white will win. So actually the king needs to come back to prevent the white king from going to e7, and then rook to a7 check, king to e8. The king always wants to try to get back to that whole position, or to e8. King to e6. Once again threatening mate. King to e8. Check. King to g7. The only move. Rook to e8. This way the king can move up and the pawn will be still protected. Rook to a2. Black is threatening to check the king from the side. And then white will play rook to d8 to, if black comes up and check, white will just stick to, will block with the rook. Then rook to e2. Now, this is basically a draw because what's happened is that white is not able to make any progress now. It can't move the king up, and what is it going to do? So as we see, it's just sort of going to go around and around, so black is able to draw with this method. So only back up to the original position. Just go over the Philidor's position one more time. Is rook to g6, once again preventing the king from stepping forward. Whoops. So stopping the king from moving forward. And then just some checking. And then nothing really white can do here. So it can just continue the check with the rook going back and forth. And if it decides to push the pawn up, then the black rook drops to the bottom to check the king from behind because it has no hiding place. Well, that just about does it for the two critical positions.